this accumulated before I got diagnosed. I was an active lifestyle. I had previously, before I got diagnosed, I had a 6-month-old. We had a nine-year-old, and I just proposed to my wife 12 days before I was diagnosed. So June 11, 2012, I was living the American dream, what I thought. I was living a successful job, accumulated many accolades. I just proposed to my now wife 12 days before. We had a 9-year-old and a 6-month-old as well too. So on the outside, everything seemed great. Unfortunately, that day, we found out that everything internally wasn't great. I was diagnosed with cancer that day and given 10 days to live. I was diagnosed with T-cell lymphoblastic lymphoma, which is a rare blood disease, and I had a mass, a 5-inch mass, crushing my tracheas, giving me an ability to breathe. So essentially I was suffocating to death. I just got done competing at the World Championships at Jiu-Jitsu out in Long Beach, the Pyramid. I felt great, health I felt great, but there were some underlying things that we ignored leading up to that time. Now, I had trouble breathing before the Worlds a little bit, but I thought it was really just because maybe allergies. I've never had allergies, but I thought it was something, getting allergies, or I was getting something, a cold or something like that. So I was telling my wife, I'm not feeling well, I can't get good breath. And the Sunday, so June 10th, had to be June 10th, I had my hand above my hands above my head trying to get a good breath. And my wife had seen me do this for multiple times for the week, and I was refusing to go to the doctor. Finally, she adamantly told me to go to the doctor. So that next Monday, which was June 11th, I decided to take off work a little early, go to a doctor without her consent. I didn't tell her anything because I thought it's bronchitis. We're going to go in there and they're going to say, okay, here's your inhaler, go home. That wasn't the case. Well, over an hour again goes by before she comes back in. She came in and said, hey, there's some things we're looking at right now. We're concerned with, we see something there. It could be multitude of things. List off a few things. My wife heard lymphoma, and I didn't really hear anything, to be honest with you. I was just ready to get on out.
It was hard. I think the first week was really hard because he was in so much denial, and he was talking about going back to work. He wasn't hearing what the doctor was saying. He wasn't listening. He wasn't sleeping. He was an awful patient, horrible, nothing. And it was that first week I realized I'm gonna have to be his advocate. And the doctor by the end of the week was calling me Mrs. Boss, and would not have a conversation with him without me in the room because he knew he wasn't listening. So it was hard watching him because he tries to put that he's tough and he's not emotional. And that moment that we got the call that he was going to go get the bone marrow transplant or the bone marrow biopsy, that's a moment that stood still for me as well, because I walked into the room and I said, "Where's Cliff at?" "Oh, the doctor called. He's going to be here in a minute to give Cliff he's going to do a biopsy. They're going to do the bone marrow." And I knew right then we're dealing with something very, very serious. And to go into he excused himself to the bathroom, and I went in there and just never seen anything like it before in my life. Never seen him cry before. That's the first time I've ever seen him cry.
I'll tell you, throughout my treatment, even up to radiation, I denied having cancer. It wasn't tangible. It wasn't something that I could physically see. It was a blood cancer, so I didn't know what it was, so I didn't choose to address it.
Let me start with the lowest point. We got through treatment A, our first treatment, and it went well. Like, man, we got this. This is easy. And we got into the second treatment, the B treatment, and it was awful. He was so sick from his spinal tap and basically a mini coma for 3 days because we gave him so much morphine. And I remember sitting in the hospital, and the nurse came in and she said, "You have to go home and sleep." And I said, "No, I'm not leaving." She goes, "You have to." And she forced me out of there because I needed to go home and sleep. And I just remember thinking, we don't have this. We're not gonna make it. This is hard. And seeing him like that it was awful. I mean, I thought he was dying. I thought this was gonna be it. Even though it wasn't ever to that extreme yet, but I was like, there's no way we can do this 6 more times. And after that, we regrouped a little bit, and it was back for our 3rd treatment, and we started taking pictures. So every time we went to the hospital, would be like, chemo round 3, let's go. And that kind of turned into our high, was taking our silly picture every treatment. And then his last bag of chemo, that was a pretty big high. It was cool. Walking out of the hospital was really neat. And then taking a picture of him, bald, no eyebrows, and him just smiling and happy to be alive.
Well, I thought the hardest part of it all, the whole trek, I think it's not the physical, it was the mental. The mental challenge was the hardest part. First, I didn't even accept it, so I didn't go through, I denied it. It's like stage 1. Just, you deny, first step in a rehab is, acknowledging it. I didn't acknowledge it. I didn't really think too much about it. I really didn't want to think too much about it, really. But the mental part was the hardest. Physical, I knew you could have some physical things. I mean, physical was as bad as having bone pains. I had to crawl to the bathroom to go throw up or go to the bathroom. You might want to say, okay, well, why don't you just put a trash can right by the bed? Nobody wants to smell it when I throw up.
Yeah.
Why don't you go use your bathroom right by get one of those little potties right by your bathroom? No, I wanted to live a normal life. And I wanted to show that I could do things. Now, the pain was pretty unbearable at points, but that's where it was. The mental was as bad as it, and this is where I made Juan part of the family. I don't think he ever made me part of the family, but this is when it's 3 days after I got out of my medically induced coma. I was in a coma for 3 days. I asked my wife to call Juan. I needed to talk to him. And the hardest part of that was that I gave him a conversation that he never thought I was going to have. And that's when I told him I don't think I want to continue. I don't think I can move forward with this. And I'm glad it's a decision I didn't make. But that's when pretty much making Juan part of the family. If he wasn't part of the family before that, he was. Because I didn't even tell my wife that at the time. He was the only person I knew that I could trust. And he understood what I was going through. When I wanted to give up on everything, I wanted to give up on just future. It just wasn't. If it was going to continue to be that way and not get any better, then I wanted quality of life. I wanted to live. I didn't want to just survive my days.
Juan and I sat in the hospital the next day in this hallway, and he goes, "We're not going to leave you. We're going to be here every step of the way." And he was every step of the way. Cliff isn't emotional towards a lot of people, but he trusted Juan with his emotions. And Juan was very protective of Cliff at that moment too. If just as much as I was over Cliff, Juan was protective as well.
It was not until probably 4 months, 5 months into treatment that I realized, okay, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
To think about, he went into the world, he was just about 34 years old going against a kid. And yeah, he lost, but he had a mass inside of him and we didn't know it. And he fought hard. And he was in amazing shape. We have some pictures to prove it. And he was as healthy as someone that sick could be. So it goes to show what you put in your body. He was preparing him. He thought he was preparing for the world. He wasn't. He was preparing to fight for his life.
Well, he knew, first things first, he knew that I was a healthy individual. He knew what I did as well too, but didn't know what jiu-jitsu was. And later telling us, when we started finishing up treatment, because I had a couple younger gentlemen that I mentored as well, that their body wouldn't respond as well to treatment. It was taking a little longer for them to recover certain things. And he said it's probably because I was in such excellent shape from jiu-jitsu that I was able to respond and to heal as quickly as I have. So it was big contributors for me being healthy and me being able to to be able to fight off any illnesses, things like that. It was a contributor to motivate me to get my life started back the way it was before. because jiu-jitsu, you get challenged. Each person you go with is a different challenge, and how do you overcome those challenges? You can go one way, point A, but you tried point A last time, so they're defending point A. You might have to go to point B, C, or D. There's different ways to get to different things, and that's indicative to life as well too. You get thrown all these challenges. How do you address those challenges? You go this way, or if this ain't not going to work, are you going to panic, or are you going to calmly go to another route? So that's how jiu-jitsu has translated to my life as well. I actually was told, okay, here's the new now. Here's your new beginning. You're done with treatments. You're done with all this. We'll see you in a month. Go live your life. That was the hard part because I was so dependent on people that I knew what was going to go. And I was saying, okay, you're fine. We'll check it in a month to see if you're better. That was a hard part for me. And that's when I look back and see what we actually went through. I looked through pictures, I thought about everything. That was a hard part for me, is when I realized I accepted at the time the severity of what we went through and really how challenging it was going through that.
And whenever we got told, okay, don't have to see you again for a while, that's when Cliff had that mental block and it got really hard for him. And so I would actually say I didn't think Cliff was back until his first tournament it's been over a year. A year ago I knew my husband was back.
I remember though coming back from the hospital at that first visit when I had a few days at the house and I literally couldn't sleep. I think it was maybe the steroids that had me on, but I was like a kid at Christmas. I wanted to spend, I was so excited that I wanted to wake my kids up at 1 o'clock in the morning. I wanted to wake my wife at 1 o'clock in the morning just to spend time with them. I'd sit there and just, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Okay, I just wanted to. I was so ecstatic to be alive at that point, but I didn't really realize the severity of where I was at still. So I never really had this premonition or anything like that. I really just thought maybe when I was treatment, I was like, what was my purpose here? What am I here for? And that's really what I asked. I was like, there's reasons why people are here, and the reason why I was given this many days, and then now I've got this many days, and now I've got more and more days. My purpose is not fulfilled yet. So what's my purpose? And I think it is that my purpose is relationships. It's our 5-year cancer anniversary, so we were given less than a 50% chance of actually making it 5 years. So we celebrated 5 years actually in June this year. I celebrated my wife and 3 kids. We got to celebrate that. So it's our 5-year cancer anniversary. It's a good barometer for doctors to say, okay, now let's not worry about it coming back. Let's look at what else we can do to help you better. So we don't look at recurrence. Likelihood of recurrence is very, very slim. So that's a 5 years mark. But more importantly was I was honored this year to be chosen as an honored hero for Fort Worth's Light the Night Walk this year. So I could speak in front of a group. Hopefully I'm able to provide a positive outlook on support and influence people to recognize the severity of this and follow us to rid the world of cancer and a better quality of life for our patients and caregivers. Leukemia Lymphoma Society's biggest fundraiser of the year is called the Light the Night Walk. It's to show, show the public what we're doing, and in regards for fundraising. They hold an event. It's a walk, about a 2-mile walk. We light lanterns, and their lanterns signify different meanings. There's a white lantern, which signifies patients or survivors. Red lanterns for caregivers or people in support of the cause, or patients or survivors as well too, so friends and family. And then there's also a gold lantern in remembrance of people who weren't as successful as I was to survive as well too. And those are carried by family members in honor of as well too. So it's very moving when you look back and you see a couple hundred people back and you've got all these different colored lights, because that support gets us one step closer to ridding the world of blood cancer. So that's what it's very moving. It's very nice it's a big celebration that has things that shows you the advancement that they made. shows you the stories, survivors, current patients, and provides support to caregivers as well too. And it's just celebration for what we're doing and what we're moving forward to. So, our team's called Walk with a Limp, and it's a pun on lymphoma, Walk with a Limp, but it's lymph. And you have to just go to Leukemia Lymphoma Society website. You can look for the Fort Worth Light the Night Walk. You can look for our team as well too. And I've been doing multi social media posts on our link as well. And if you want to walk with us, all you have to do is join the team, and that's it. So just join the team. We'd encourage you to raise $100 at least, which will provide for a shirt, a meal as well too for yourself out there when you walk. But you have to register to get the lantern as well too, and register under our team. And we hope to have 90 to 100 people on our team. We had about 30 last year, and that's just if one person invites 2 or 3 more people, then we'll have up to 90 to 100 people to walk with us. It's on a Sunday after the Cowboys game, so November 5th. We'll start things about 5:30, 6 o'clock as well. But I'd love to see everybody there, walk with us, celebrate with us, remember people with us as well too, and see where we're going. I'm telling you, it's moving. It's hard for me to explain in words what it means to me and to people when they go there for the first time. It's a very moving time.